All right. Welcome back to Eyes Open Media. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of articles here, and then I will be back later. As you guys know, that the map updates are now on the main channel, Currency 365. But I will be back to do basically a full scope of what's going on in Mosul. I guess in the last 24 hours, it's going to be, of course, we're going to be going off of what Iraqi Day and Hader's have been saying. I'm just gonna give you guys a full scope of the last 24 hours that's been going on in Mosul. So I think that's gonna be pretty cool. I'll probably have like 15 tabs open, and or maybe I'll just go, and instead of having 15 tabs open, I might maybe just have 2 tabs open, and just go through their timeline and just show you guys, and then we'll discuss it as well and talk about what's been going on in Mosul. Okay, so that video will be up later this afternoon after I do the map update, if there is a map to even update. Okay, so watch out for that. Okay, so this video we're doing. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already. The Eyes Open Media and also Currency 365. Okay, so let's see here, and I will be giving away, and I will be announcing the 2 names on the main channel today. With the map video, if there is a map, I will be announcing the 2 winners of the Ethereum or Bitcoin, the free Ethereum Bitcoin. Okay, so look out for that later. Let's see here. Iraq resumes next Friday talks with the IMF now and the World Bank. Now we know that they've been talking for a while now, and these next talks were scheduled for the mid-April, and we were all thinking, well, shouldn't they make a move? And they just don't care about making a move. In my opinion, they don't care about making a move. They don't care about none of these deadlines. They don't care about anything, man. It's crazy. All they really want to do is just continue to milk away the world and continue to grab loans and not use their own money, regardless of what they're doing inside, regardless of all the great things that have happened with the banking system and everything. They at the end of the day, the corrupt people would rather continue to beg for loans and not use their own money as long as they can, because they're terrified of the citizens having purchasing power. They're very terrified about that, because citizens could then go online and buy computers, and they can buy things, and they can go online and start ordering some weapons, and and coming after the corrupt, and the corrupt do not like that. They fear for their lives when Iraq finally goes international. So it says Iraqi delegations headed by the Minister of Finance begins agency Abdul actually said next Friday in Washington discussions with the IMF, International Monetary Fund, and World Bank to review the readiness credit agreement, which includes lending Iraq $5.4 billion to cover the deficit of the financial budget. Once again, loans after loans after loans after loans after loans after loans after loans, regardless if it's for reconstruction or not, or their budget, to cover their budget or not. These people have trillions of dollars just sitting, waiting on them, and they refuse to make a move to bring that wealth in, and so it's kind of sad that the IMF is actually doing all this stuff for them, because they as soon as they remove all restrictions, the wealth is there. Their wealth is sitting right there, as soon as so the IMF is really just hurting them. The IMF is really the ones delaying this, because for the IMF to continue to give them, to make agreements with them, and they don't think that when the IMF does stuff like this in the World Bank, it tells the corrupt people that they never have to use their own money, and they never have to go back international, because they can continue to make up new things and tell the IMF and the World Bank, we need more money because we have sleeper cells in ISIS now. So this whole last couple of years has been about Daesh and low oil. Now, the next thing they're probably going to try to make excuses on is sleeper cells, right? And we need more money because we can't use our own money because we have sleeper cells in Iraq now, or whatever the case may be. They're going to try to make up new things. And when I think what's hurting our investment is the IMF. The IMF and the World Bank continuing to do these agreements and readiness for bridging their budget and all that. They don't need any of this stuff. To bridge their budget, they don't have a budget deficit because all they have to do is remove the restrictions. And then when they remove the restrictions of their country, their budget deficit goes into a massive surplus. So, you see what I'm saying? So the fact that the IMF knows that and they're still sitting with these guys doing all these agreements, it makes the Iraqi corrupt government people think, wait a minute, we can continue to do this for the rest of our lives. You know what I mean? Like, how long is the IMF going to stay around? As long as the IMF is around and the World Bank's around, which I don't think is that much longer. I don't even think the IMF and the World Bank might not even make it for the next 10 years. We know the United Nations is struggling. But the IMF and the World Bank, I don't even know if they have 10 years left in them, the way they're going. Especially how fast the BRICS and the AIIB bank is going, and how that's being propped up by the Eastern world, and all the money is being shifted from the Western world to the Eastern world. So I don't know how long the IMF and the World Bank has left, and Iraq understands that, so they're trying to melt them as long as they can, okay, without using their own money. That's how smart Iraq is at the same time. So we can't, a lot of us think Iraq's dumb, but they're milking these people the crap out of the World Bank and the IMF. As long as they stay up, they're gonna milk them. It's like you ladies having a sugar daddy. You're gonna milk that sugar daddy as long as he's alive, and as soon as he dies, but okay, I guess I'll move on to the next sugar daddy where I just finally use my own money at my own job. Okay, and that's what Iraq's doing. So the IMF and the World Bank are actually hurting our investment because they continue to put these agreements together instead of telling them just it's now time to remove your restrictions. Why can't they tell these guys that it's now time to remove the restrictions? Why do they keep with the loans and all this other stuff? Just tell them to remove the restriction, and they don't have a budget deficit. You know what I'm saying? You remove your restriction, you don't have a budget, you have a surplus. But they're not telling these guys that. They're signing up loans to keep these people continuing to starve and depend on the IMF and the World Bank. I don't get it. It's old now. It's been 3, 4, 5 years now doing the same thing. Let's move on now. Let's proceed. Speaking of proceeding, Iran doesn't want to proceed as well, as they want Maliki to go back to the forefront of Iraq. So it looks like here Iran actually is seeking Nouri al-Maliki to return to the prime minister position and the head of the National Alliance, it looks like. So, and Iran says despite, of course, the refusal of Washington, D.C., Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. Okay, now, why would Iran want Maliki back at the helm? Maybe because Iran was stealing so much money out of Iraq when Maliki was there, and Maliki was, Maliki is Maliki Iranian, or is he an Iraqi? Because many people say he's Iranian, and he's like a what do you call, like a spy or something? You know what I mean? Like he's really Iranian because he always does everything with Iran, and he's true to Iran, not Iraq. So it's kind of interesting. I wonder if Maliki's actually an Iranian. And so if he is, how in the world did he become an Iraq prime minister? So, and why did America back him up to become the Iraq prime minister? Because they're the ones that picked him. They picked this guy over what's his name? Alawi. Remember, Alawi actually won, but the Americans chose Maliki over Alawi, which is kind of weird. So now we're paying for choosing this corrupt, evil devil, And it looks like Iran, which are devils as well, they want, and of course American government is also the devils as well. So we can't really say, I can't be talking about other people and not say that because American government has done more worse things than any other government in the history of mankind. So we can't sit here and say that American government isn't devils either. But anyways, Iran is wanting this evil man back in power because they were able to steal a lot of money out of Iraq. And actually they were able to steal a lot of money, and then they were counterfeiting those monies and flooding it into the world, which was crazy. People had 10, like, let's say people had 20 million IQD, and then they went to the banks with it, and it was all counterfeit. And they leaked it, and they traced it back, to Iran. Everything was from Iran. So and Maliki was allowing them to counterfeit the IQD and flood it into the markets. So a lot of counterfeit IQDs were in the markets, and Iran was prospering off of that. So they would love to have this man back in power and not see Iraq, return to the international stage. Okay, so that's the elections are in September. So that gives us a time frame of when Iraq should return to the international stage to keep this guy from returning to power. So between now and September, right? So between now and September, we need to see Iraq back on the international stage, which would keep this guy away from ever returning back to power. So there's our time frame, okay, between now and September. Because if he gets back in September, it's a wrap. We can kiss this investment goodbye. And a lot of you guys will be angry at God if he allows this guy to return back in September and with no revaluation. Many people will be angry at God for them wasting their time. And I can already see it now. I can already see so many people will be blaming God for not putting his foot down and sending the angels to revalue this currency and bring Iraq back into the international stage. I can already see it. If we don't see nothing by September and this man returns to power, we're never going to see, unless he just drops dead, we'll never see a revaluation. Okay, so we have until now until September, and then Iran is pitching for Maliki. They got the Dow Party pitching for Maliki, and some people in the National Alliance are pitching for Maliki to return. So we got until now until September. So we'll see. And if he returns, it's a wrap. You might as well sell everything. I think there's going to be a big panic to sell everything if he returns. And Iraq's in big trouble if he returns. If he returns, Iraq's in big trouble. Donald Trump knows that as well. So our military shouldn't even allow it to happen. You know what I mean? But we'll see. A lot of stranger things have happened. So, but I can already see it now. Many would be angry at God for wasting and then they'll say, Lord God, why did you waste my time? Why did you allow me to waste my time in this investment? Why did you allow me to invest in this? Why did you say it was real? Why did you tell me? Why did you show me all this stuff about it? And then this man is back in power, and it's never going to happen now. And he's going to destroy the CBI. He's going to destroy the banking sector. He's going to destroy everything to make sure the citizens don't have purchasing power. And so why did you allow that? That's what people will say. So it is what it is. And I'm not sure what God will respond back if he did allow this to happen, because I don't think he's going to allow it to happen. I don't think America is going to even allow it to happen. So we shall see between now and September. Okay, and the last article here is Sadr closes the economic body of the stream of corruption and manipulation on the people. Okay, I don't know much. I don't know what Sadr is. I don't know if Sadr is a good guy or a bad guy. Looks like he could be pretending on the outside to be good, and the inside he's part of, he's with Maliki and the corruption. I don't know, and we're starting to get to a point where Sadr's making a lot of claims, and he has 1 million plus people behind him, but nothing is getting done. And when I usually see that tells me that they're part of the corruption. You know what I mean? It's the same thing I'm talking about. I've been talking about a body for a while now. I'm like, a body's talking about corruption, removing corruption, but it's been 2 years, 2.5 years, and nothing has been done. So, you know what I mean? So at some point, you got to stop saying removal of corruption and say, wait a minute. If you can't remove corruption, then that means you're part of the corruption. And I think that's the same thing here with Sadr. Sadr's talking about, economic bodies and the stream immediately and all this economic stuff and helping the citizens out and getting the citizens to do reforms, and nothing has happened. So when I start seeing stuff like that, I'm like, okay, why can Sadr talk like this, but yet nothing has changed? Over a year of Sadr talking like this. And that's because he's probably part of it. He's probably part of the shadow government. So he's working in behinds to keep the citizens poor while talking about the citizens in the open. That they need the reform, they need the private reform, they need all of the stuff that they need. We need to do it now and immediately without delay. And then 6 months later, we get the same thing. He comes out and says, without delay, the citizens need help. And then 6 months later, he'll say the same thing. And you're like, wait a minute. If you have this much power, why are you continuing to say the same things every 6 months? Why isn't it not getting done? And here's the thing about Sadr. He has his own area in Iraq, right? The Sadr district, right? He has the Sadr district and the Sadr movement, the Sadr district. Why isn't his people rich? You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't even have to care about all of Iraq. Just make his own people. Just make your people rich. He has enough influence, and he has enough money, and his family have enough money to take care of the people that follow him and create jobs for them. Like he can be alone. He can be like the loan guy. Like him and his crew could give out like $10 billion in loans and create jobs for his Sadr people. But yet that's not the case. The Sadr people in his district are also poor. So it's like you're talking about helping people immediately, but your own people are poor. Why not take care? Sadr could easily take care of his own people and say, this is how you're supposed to do it, Iraq. My people have jobs. My people have cars. My people have food. My people have clothes. My people are working. My people are not just working in Iraq, but they have businesses online. They have electricity. They have internet. They have money. He could do that for his people. This guy is a billionaire. His families are billionaires. His co-workers and the people around him are all billionaires and multimillionaires. They can lend money and create jobs in Sadr City. He has his own city in Iraq, but yet those people are poor. So that tells you right there that this is all talk. This is all talk to look good on the open. But your own people are suffering, Sadr. That doesn't even make sense. You don't have to help all of Iraq out. Help your own people out, and then your own people can turn around and help the rest of Iraq out. That's how you do it. He wants to help all of Iraq immediately, but yet his own people are suffering and starving. So that's kind of weird, man. That's very weird. That tells me that this is all for show. This is all for show. Take care of your own people, Sadr, and then your own people will then take care of Iraq. You take care of 1 million people and you get them on track. Guess what? Those 1 million people will take care of the 30 million people or whatever the case is that are living in Iraq. But you're not doing that. So interesting. Anyways, let's complete this thing with Bitcoin here. Bitcoin is at 1185. A little bit down today. It is Sunday. So a little bit down today. Ethereum is still high at 48.38. Looking forward for an Ethereum spring and summer, as we will hopefully see a nice pump and dump in Ethereum this summer. We're looking for 200 to 500 range for this spring summer for Ethereum. Altcoins here. Let's see here. Litecoin and Dash go back and forth between 5 and 4. And Litecoin's at 1076, Dogecoin at 76, Ripple Coin at 0.033. I guess everybody's waiting on the WebUp report to see if it's accurate on late April rise in Ripple Coin. So no one's selling yet. Ethereum Classics at 264. Many people sold off on PIVX earlier this week and made some money on it. It looks like it's still going up though. And this one is still up 30%. Factum. Okay, so that's it. Yeah, subscribe to the channel, Eyes Open Media, and also my main channel, Currency 365. And I'll be back. We're gonna look later. I'll be back in a couple of hours. We're gonna look through all of what has happened in Mosul in Iraq in the last 24 hours. We're just gonna look through the timeline of Iraqi Day and Hadr and see what's been going on. Okay, and then on the main channel, I'm gonna do I'm gonna announce the 2 names for the Bitcoin Ethereum giveaway, which is just a small amount. And also hopefully we have a map. And we'll do the map update. Okay, so that's it for me. Talk to you guys later. Eyes open. Hit the subscribe button and welcome to the crew. Peace out. Bye.